Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Tuesday, the 12th of August. My apologies about last Friday and yesterday. My intention had been to record those before I went off to Sacred Circle, and that got sideways. And then I thought, well, I'll record them while I'm at Sacred Circle, and then turns out I didn't have any reliable internet connection. So those didn't happen, and my apologies, but I am back and hoping to be back and up and at 'em each day for you. I hope you find this helpful to have morning coffee with me or whatever it is you do whenever you watch. But I'm glad to be back. Hoping you're all doing well and have survived the past couple of days. And we're experiencing, as I record this, it's absolutely pouring rain in Brandon, and praying that that rain is happening across the province and all the forest fires. So we shall see. I just I just want to talk to you today a little bit today about communities, building communities in unusual places. I've had a time to spend opportunity to spend some time in a couple of different airports over the past week. A week ago, Monday, I was at the Brandon Airport, which is really kind of tiny, one sort of flight at a time, and then I was in the Calgary Airport on Sunday, which is not one little flight at a time, and it certainly isn't tiny. And just the way people behave. You know, wherever you go when you get into a group, that you have all been screened for. I mean, literally screened. When you go to the airport, before you can get into the place where you have to wait, at least in Canada, you have to go through the security, where they check your bags and they check you. And I don't know what it is about me, but I seem to trigger that. You are the lucky traveler who gets to have your bags opened up by security, and you get to be have the wand pat down, and then the pat down where they put gloves on you and they feel your whole body, like literally feel your whole body with their, not with their palms, but the back of their hands, all the way down your arms and around your body and all the parts that you don't want anybody touching. Yep, that happened to me in Brandon, 9:30 in the morning on last Monday, and that's just like, I know they're just doing their jobs, and it certainly isn't something that they want to do for someone. So you just try to be as gracious as possible and figure out what it is about your body. My ring, my watch, the button things on my pants. I don't know what it is. I try to change it up so that doesn't happen, but it still happens. But once you get through security, you know you all have one thing in common. You're allowed to fly. The other thing you have in common is you're pretty much all flying to the same destination. Now, some people may be taking a connecting flight, or some people might be getting off your flight somewhere and some staying on the plane, but you're essentially all at least going to the first destination the plane goes together. And so you all have something in common. And something else we all have in common is the normal things, like you can only have one carry-on and one personal item. And then there's group dynamics. You know, you usually have that one or two people who just either don't listen or think they're entitled. And so that, you know, in Brandon, we had that one woman she had two carry-ons and a personal item, and the guy came around, they did a pre-check, a pre-flight approval. So they would check your ticket and check your passport or your ID to make sure that you're able to fly, and they put a ticket on on your put a check mark on your ticket so that you could just walk quickly through when they called your zone up. So this one woman, he was checking, he's like, ma'am, you're going to have to take your your personal item and put it inside one of your suitcases, because you cannot take three of. Oh, yep, yep. And then I sat and watched her for 20 minutes. She didn't make any moves to do so. She went out to the plane, and I was just about to get grumpy that, like, what is it about people, you know, that they just don't listen, that they think the rules aren't for them, and then they go ahead and get away with it. That's the thing. They end up getting away with it because nobody calls them on it. Well, we're standing in line and we're waiting, and not everybody got the pre-check, so we're staying in line. And of course, I'm not zone one or two with lots of leg room. I'm in zone three, which means I've got like the seat's this big. Notice how big my shoulders are. This is how big the seat is, and the seat belt's like this long, and all the things. And the seat in front of me is right here. I've got long legs. I know you can't tell by how I've had. This is aside. There have been all kinds of times when I've been meeting people lately who have seen me via Zoom meetings, and they always are surprised at how tall I am. I'm almost 5'10". So for those of you who think I'm a midget or something, I'm not. I am actually quite tall. You just can't tell on video. Anyway, so I've got no leg room. But so so I'm in zone three. I'm in the, we're all going to send you all on together, and you can fight with about who gets into the seat first. So I'm waiting in line, and we're listening, and all of a sudden over the walkie-talkie comes. Yeah, we've got a problem here at the gate at the door of the airplane. This passenger is trying to bring in three personal items, and she's giving us gears. And I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, they actually like stood up to the person who did it. I mean, how many times have you heard that? That you know people go up and say something to somebody. You're like, I look at somebody, their luggage, they've got that little gadget that if your suitcase can sit inside this, it is considered carry-on. And how many times have you looked at other people who are carrying like hockey bags and things that are absolutely way too big, and you're looking at your stuff that you've weighed and it's the right sizes, and it's going to fit in that overhead compartment or underneath your seat. And as a woman, I usually have a purse and an overhead, like a compartment. And then you look and realize that person's going to take up the whole overhead thing bin, which means if a couple people do that, that there isn't enough space for everybody else's stuff. And not very often, I've been doing a lot of flying lately, and every once in a while, but not very often, there will be some flight attendant. And mind you, it is never the flight attendant who is, the 22-year-old who looks like Barbie. It's always the flight attendant who looks like she just came out of a German movie about um, Fraulein Hilda, who's a bodybuilder. And the flight attendant comes out and starts making people drop their bags in the thing. If they won't fit, then you must check your bag, and it will cost you this amount of money. It's actually kind of refreshing to see Fraulein Hilda come out, because I'm one of those people who listens to the rules. If it says it needs to be this amount of weight or it needs to be this size, then I adapt to that, because I know that this is not about dictating something awful to me. It's actually about maintaining the boundaries of a community. It's actually about helping to have a healthy community. Is because that's essentially what we are. When we're all waiting at the gate or at Brandon in the little room waiting to get on our flight, we are a community of people. Like I said, we are all going, we've all had to go through security. We are all going at least partly to the same, in the first place, to the same destination. We are all having to put ourselves in the care of pilots and flight attendants who, as we hurtle through the sky, something that I wonder if God ever really intended to happen in the first place. But hey, here we go. Like, we have a community. And in this community, we recognize that we have certain rules, like you don't smoke, and for the most part, you keep your seatbelt on. You don't walk up and down the aisles. You maintain the standards of the community so that we can all be a faithful community. It's just simple as that. It's a good system. And when people don't follow the rules of the community, it makes it uncomfortable for everybody. So it's great then when the employees of the airline start to enforce the rules. And it can become uneasy, like, because then people get grumpy and nobody wants to be grumpy. And there's people who argue that you shouldn't make her do that. And other people are like, thank you, because I do have like a diaper bag and my backpack and my purse, and I've got my baby, and all of this is legitimate baggage I'm allowed to take on the plane. But where am I going to put the diaper bag if my overhead compartment is filled with somebody else's business work, because they just won't check it in check bags? There's a reason why our communities have these rules, and airports are an incredible way of looking at why those rules are important. One of the gifts I have discovered about traveling is that people, for the most part, when they're traveling, are willing to have those micro relationships that happen in communities like that, where you sit beside a total stranger, maybe you hold their phone for them while they dig in their purse. But what you start to realize is start having these conversations, and before you know it, you grew up with her best friend's cousin, or you both lived in the same place one time, or you both have the same favorite, Bahamas beach that you go to. It is incredible how quickly we can build these relationships and meet other people, and come to understand things, and our world gets bigger and better and more positive when we realize that we are not in a community of one, that we actually do live in a world that, although it seems to be moving really quickly and going in places we may not want it to go, If we look closely, we can find that there are people around us, even as I said, if it's just a micro relationship, just for a minute and a half, that there are people out there that we can reach out to and touch them on the shoulder or get a hug from them or share a laugh or wipe away a tear. We recognize that even if just for a few minutes as we're waiting for our plane, we're not alone in this world. And airports are a place that reminds me all the time of those micro relationships, those little quick and, you know, fast moving, fast changing communities that will never ever create again, but have an opportunity to bless us while we're there. I hope you have a micro community or a micro relationship today that gives you some hope, or that you can share some hope with someone else in one as well. Have a great day. God bless you. I will see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.